When is the last time you actually asked your students what they think about your studio? Not just the casual conversation in the hallway, but real structured feedback. On this episode of Rock School Proprietor Podcast, Mandy and I are diving into how to use surveys effectively in your music studio. We're talking about surveys to help develop new programs, evaluate instructors, and gauge client satisfaction. We cover what questions to ask, which ones to avoid, and how often you should actually be doing this without overwhelming the families in your studio. This is all to save you tons of time and help you make better decisions. Stay tuned. If you're a guitar instructor and you've used one of the dozen or so popular method books, you've probably noticed that gap between what's in the books and what students actually want to learn. Most guitar students want to play their favorite songs, and that means strumming, chord changes, timing. If that stuff is even in those method books, it's usually way in the back. I put together the exercises in Complete Guitar Strumming to cover the foundational concepts that all guitar students need, but in a practical way that applies to their goals, which is playing their favorite songs. For instructors, the book comes with an instructor companion guide that walks you through best practices for teaching. I even have training videos that I've used with my own staff that you can access as well. The guide and the videos are free for anyone who wants to use the book for teaching. If you want to get really deep and understand the origins of the book, you can go listen to episode 50 of this podcast or just head over to rockschoolproprietor.com/book for all the details. Welcome to Rock School Proprietor Podcast. My name's John Kozicki.
And I'm Mandy York.
And Mandy, you had a great idea. This is going to be a kind of a Mandy Leads episode, which I always love those because, one, you're doing most of the work. But like you have such a different perspective than I do. And oftentimes in our conversations, you'll just say something and it's something I've never even thought of and think, what a great idea. And that is exactly what we're talking about today. And you had suggested we talk about surveys.
Yeah.
And surveying your families in your studio to gather information and whatnot. So how did you come up with this idea to have this discussion?
I mean, it was kind of you. My daughters are enrolled at your studio.
Okay.
So I got a survey from John Kozicki. But it was funny because I had just sent a survey within the month to my families too.
Which I didn't know about. Yeah.
Well, you don't have any infants, so you didn't get that survey.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. So it just dawned on me like this is something that we're both doing. I find it really effective and important. So let's talk about it.
And I rarely do it. So this was kind of just sort of a coincidence. What was your survey? Yeah. What was the focus of your survey to your families and what were you trying to get information about?
Well, this particular one was pretty targeted. It was for infants, like I mentioned, for babies. We're starting a new program. For those of you that don't know, if you're new listeners, I have an early childhood music studio. So the vast majority of my classes are all mixed ages, birth through age 5, but I'm starting a specific babies class. So this is just for like under 9 months, non-mobile babies, new parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been trying to figure out timing for these classes, what will work best for parents in that category. And so I needed a question answered. I put it out there.
Nice.
And yours was kind of similar because you're kind of starting a new program, but you're reformatting existing structures. Right?
Yeah. And the reason that I sent the survey was we have been working on kind of this big change to our program. It would be sort of a change / addition to our rock band program. And I personally have been putting a ton of work into how this would work. When would we do it? This is how we normally run things. This is how this new program would be different. How do we change the logistics? Like all this other stuff, like hours. And I just had this moment of, I don't know, clarity or self-doubt. I thought, what if no one wants this? Right? There was a specific problem that I was trying to solve. And I thought we could do this. This would be an enhancement to our rock school. But I did have that moment where, like, man, I've only been talking with a couple of my staff members about this, and they think it's great. I think it's great. What if we put it out there and no one else cares? No one is interested.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, man, I should survey the existing families in our studio and see what kind of info I can get.
Yes. Yeah. And spoiler alert, you had positive feedback on all that stuff.
Well, for the most part, but there was mixed stuff. There were some things in the survey where, like, yes, the idea is sound, right? But there's also some stuff in the survey that I looked at and thought, so the amount of people that seem interested in this versus the people who are like, I don't know if we'd be ready for something like that. I don't know if the timing would work out. It does make me now question, will we have the numbers to make this successful right now, or do we still have to fine tune some things? So
okay.
The info is good, but you probably put more thought into the questions for your survey. I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to put this out and make a survey. And even when I started getting responses to the survey, I thought I could have reworded that better.
Oh, yeah, been there.
Better results. So
yeah, been there for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that if you as a studio owner haven't surveyed your families, you really should. It saves time. It saved me a lot of time because, like you said, you're planning, and then you had this self-doubt about how to structure it, what to do. You know, it makes your planning more effective, and it gives you insight into what your parents value, right? So if you have questions, just ask.
So you had mentioned you see 3 reasons to survey. Should we get into kind of the reasons to survey?
For sure. Yeah. And I'll say up front, like I survey regularly, but I wouldn't say I do it too frequently. Just up front, I should say, like, we shouldn't be overwhelming our families with surveys all the time, right? They're going to get survey fatigue and they're going to stop answering your questions. But
how frequently, when you say regularly, how frequently do you?
Well, I'll get into that.
Okay.
I'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get there. Like the 3 reasons I would say are when you're developing a new program. That's what we've just kind of talked about, right? Evaluating instructors, your teachers.
That's an interesting one.
And then like a general experience or satisfaction survey. That's what I've done. So these are the 3 main types. We've already mentioned, so when you're developing new programs, you're spending a lot of time on this and you want to get it right. You have to get it right, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes there's details that you're just not sure about. For me, it was timing of these classes. I know my mixed age groups, right? I have got this down. I feel like a pro at this. I know that I am not going to fill a 1:00 class because that's when the toddlers are napping. I'm not going to schedule at that time. For me, this was mostly about scheduling.
Okay.
So infants tend to have different nap schedules. They're still like on a 2-morning nap.
Yeah.
I know this is a lot of like inside scoop, but welcome to my world.
But it's so pertinent and it's so important to understand your audience. A parent, and that was one of the questions I put in my survey was about timing and, scheduling. And specifically, I asked, hey, if we ran this program, kind of how we would have to do it is because of what we're doing, we would have to choose a day and time and people would have to commit. Would that impact your interest in this? And some people were just flat out said like, hey, if the day and time didn't work, we wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
And I get it, but that's how some families operate. And I can totally see that as, a parent myself. I remember like those early days with the baby. It's like everything we did was reliant on like, well, what is the nap schedule? And like, I have to be home at this time because that is nap time and I'm not going to deviate from that because if I do, the rest of the day is crap.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And in your world, it's like school schedules, right?
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah, for
gonna
sure.
you're not gonna schedule band rehearsal 15 minutes after the bell. You have to think about those things. So know
Yeah.
your audience. But so that's what my survey was about. Like, should we do like an 11 o'clock after the morning nap? Is 1 o'clock good after the morning nap? Whatever. So you want to get details like that. Be very specific. Like for me, it was like this time or this time. I do
Mhm.
always leave room for comment, like because I want to hear things that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah,
So
that's
always leave
great.
room for comments, but be very, some people don't comment in surveys, period.
Sure. Sure.
There's the people
I
that check
usually
the box.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So give very specific options, but then room for comment for those that are like maybe a little bit more invested and have good ideas they want to give you.
Mhm. Mhm.
I always like to leave the disclaimer too when I'm putting this out there that it's not a commitment. This is not a
Yeah.
commitment. We're looking for feedback. We're trying to get this new program up and running. Like, we just are looking for your input, hoping that will elicit more responses rather than people saying like, oh, if I fill out this form, they're going to want me to register for the class.
Yeah.
And then the survey platforms that are available, like this goes for all of them, but I don't even know what you used. Your survey was like built in
Google form.
Was it a
Yeah.
Google form? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yours
just
was
a
just
Google
really
form.
customized. It looked great. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, we just simple Google form. Yeah.
Cool. That's what I do too. Initially, I was using MailChimp, and they'll give you some kind of cool analytics. Not MailChimp, the other monkey, SurveyMonkey.
Oh, SurveyMonkey. Yeah. The other one.
Yes. They'll give you analytics and charts and things, but I think Google is great, and I like to collect the data into a spreadsheet.
Sure. And I think, for anyone, for different purposes, I can see why you might choose something like SurveyMonkey over Google Form. If your sample size is crazy big, then yes, you might want a platform that's more designed for surveys. Although I don't know, I'm always surprised with the little features that I find in Google applications that I didn't know existed. But
yeah,
for you and I mean, I think I probably sent my survey to maybe 70 or 80 families.
mm-hmm.
And, we got back like maybe 20 responses, So we're talking very manageable in terms of like looking at that data and trying to understand it. So, I mean, I don't know what your numbers are, but we're not talking about crazy numbers.
No, I would never. These like developing new programs are usually smaller numbers, and a general survey is going to go out to maybe 200 to 300 people. So no.
Okay.
And what you mentioned is good to remember. Like, don't expect everyone to fill out the survey. Be prepared for that. And maybe that means send to as many people as you can so that you do get more of a response. Yeah. No, I like the Google Forms because I can put it I can direct it to go into a Google Sheet. And then, like, if you're familiar with that platform, like Google Sheets, you can manipulate the data in so many ways and sort and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great.
Yeah.
So that's the first one, developing new programs.
Developing new programs. Great.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, kind of a shoot off of that, I think, is event planning. I didn't list that as one of my 3 main types, but sometimes when I'm planning an event, I want to gauge interest.
Okay.
So developing the programs, we're developing the program. It's happening, but we want some more insight. Event planning, like I started doing the Christmas parade a while ago, and I was like, we're in Michigan. Are people going to come out for this thing? Am I going to like try to do this and not have enough people? So that kind of stuff, gauging interest. I use surveys frequently.
See, I want to clarify something and maybe push back a little bit when it comes, or maybe not push back, maybe just differentiate when it comes to event planning. When you talk about your events, the events that you do are usually one-offs. They're not something that they're special. They're special events.
Yes.
When I think about events, I'm thinking about our concerts that we plan regularly.
Yes.
And I would never put
Yep.
out a survey to our family saying like,
Nope.
hey, what day works? Because I think that would just open up this can of worms and a huge headache, because
Yes.
that's sort of integral to how we run our program. And we pretty much have to say like, this is it. This is when we're doing it. Please save the date. Versus now, if I was to maybe get additional information about those events, okay. But when it comes to like timing, I would not survey
No.
my families.
No, and that's a good point, and I'm glad you clarified that, because no, I don't send a survey about my concert, my annual concert in the park.
Mhm.
Like that's happened. That's a community event. I decide when and where.
Yeah.
But yeah, like things like should we do this community building? Maybe that's a better way of,
Sure. Yeah.
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 Can I get enough people to hang out with me and tie-dye T-shirts for the next rock program? Right? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Exact.
Oh, shoot. That reminds me of something else, John.
Okay.
I know I'm all over. Now, don't ask about everything. Even going back to developing new programs,
Yeah.
I was specifically asking about timing. You had very specific questions too.
I did. Yeah.
But don't like open the floodgates. Me personally, I never survey about like pricing. That's not a thing. We
Right.
make
Yeah.
those decisions, right?
Mhm.
You do your market research and you figure out what, but I'm not asking about tuition costs or maybe even like class sizes. Like, just don't open the floodgates. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Be specific about your questions. You know what you need. Don't ask everybody about everything, because they'll give
That's
you an
great.
earful.
Yes. And it seems like there's this fine line between collecting usable information from your target audience, which is what we're talking about doing, versus maybe using this as a solution to decision fatigue. Like, I don't want to make this decision. Let me have someone else make the decision for me,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is my target audience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Those are all good points. Cool. Okay.
All right,
Evaluating instructors.
Number
Yes,
2,
let's move on.
evaluating instructors. This is an interesting one. I've never done this, and I
Okay.
definitely want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah.
And so let me ask: Is this? I think I know the answer here, but is this in evaluating instructors an internal survey that you're doing, maybe amongst you and other staff members, or is this external where you're just saying, "Hey, what does everyone think about this person?"
Yeah, it's external. I'm asking the students, well, the parents of students taking classes
Okay.
with an instructor.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think, well, like as owners, there's a couple parts to this. As studio owners, we get feedback a lot about our studios. We get reviews about how we're doing, community recognition, stuff like that. But maybe not as frequently like individual instructor performance. Maybe informally. Like I get that. I get informal feedback, which I always love and appreciate,
Right.
teachers telling me about how much they love this teacher, how great it was that teacher X did this, but nothing formal. I do reviews of my teachers, performance reviews. On occasion, I sit in their classes, but it's one thing for me to do that. It's another thing to collect that data from families and be able to share that with the teacher. So when I say this is like twofold. As a studio owner, I'm getting information about my teacher so that I know how to support them. But really, like what I'm most interested in is getting the feedback to share with my teacher that is like essentially an ego boost and like, just is motivating and inspiring for them. I like to, I know that they get that, informally while they're teaching, but to be able to get that in writing, it's really nice when, like, especially if a parent is going to take the time to complete this survey and you leave, like I said, always leave room for comments, and they write like a short paragraph or a couple sentences about this teacher and why they appreciate them. That's gold. It's gold to be able to give your teacher. I think it's a really nice perk to be able to do that.
I like your positive perspective on this, where you're looking for those positive things so that you can share them and say, hey, these are all the things that you're doing really well, right? Let's do more of this. And if there are things that maybe are areas to improve, you can kind of juxtapose those two. Hey, you're doing this really great. This other thing, did you ever think that you could approach it in a similar way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've never been motivated to like survey families about a teacher because things are not going well.
Right.
Like that's not the motivation. If we are doing our jobs right, we're hiring the right people, and we're tweaking and, supporting and helping them grow. But this isn't like, oh, wow, I'm hearing a lot of negative feedback. Let me survey all the families. And, maybe if you, So
and chances are pretty good. If you're hearing the negative feedback, there's already a problem, and
you need to dig in different ways, probably.
Yes.
The motivation is to get like positive feedback to kind of gift to your instructor.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I love using these. For me, like, because I'm all group classes and I have put out a schedule, and especially when a teacher's new, Miss Mandy's classes will fill first, right?
Yeah.
Before the new teachers will. But if I've collected data, second or third semester, if I've collected some really great feedback, you can put these quotes up on your website next to teacher's picture. You can throw it out on Facebook.
That's
so
awesome.
This is a good way to promote them and help fill their classes too.
It's like, you're getting testimonials on the down low without necessarily saying like, hey, will you say some great stuff for us, great stuff about us that we can share? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
All right. So
number 3?
That's number 2, evaluating instructors. Number 3, general experience survey.
Yes.
This is
kind of your run-of-the-mill satisfaction survey, right?
Okay. Now with this one, how frequently do you send something like this, or is it not on a schedule?
About every other year. Okay. So that's not that frequently, right?
No.
I have families that stick with us for quite a while. So I yearly I don't know. It's my personality. Like you said, John, you're not one to like complete the comment section. Like I don't like getting a lot of email. So it's just my personal motivation that has kept me from like over surveying families. But I think it's valuable to like check the pulse, quote unquote, of the studio, and keep it simple. Just like the other surveys, be very specific, keep it simple. But, you could do this as like on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with X? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, multiple choice is usually best. Like how knowledgeable do you feel your instructor is when it comes to X? Things like that.
And I would imagine the questions that you're asking are really about also what things are important to you as the studio owner.
Yes.
And just that example that you mentioned, how knowledgeable do you feel this instructor is about a certain topic?
Yes.
That speaks to, and this is me knowing you, Mandy, that speaks to how important it is to you in your studio that even though you're catering to this age group that oftentimes isn't even in school yet, it's important that to you that the program that you offer is research-based and there is learning going on even though it's play-based
Yes.
and
Yep.
experiential. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean that the families realize that they're learning from this program.
Yes. Yeah.
And here's a good example too. I often ask, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, or maybe it's strongly agree, whatever your scale
Yeah.
is, do you feel like you're making more music at home as a family since beginning the program?
Mhm.
Or like, how often do you use your take-home materials, meaning, music downloads and songbooks at home? Because
Mhm.
that's the goal of the program, is that they are, making music at home using these tools that we're giving them.
That's perfect, because that's your mission. That's your goal with your studio. So you're really just taking the temperature. Are we achieving those goals that we set out to achieve? And
Yes.
just understanding if that's coming through to the families based on their interactions in class from week to week.
Yes. So don't don't Google like top 10 satisfaction survey questions.
Right.
You can do some research, and you can probably use AI to help you come up with some questions, like if this is difficult for you to get started with. But like you're saying, do the real work and think about your mission and what's really important to you. What do you want to know? Don't just do this to get, a bunch of strongly agrees and boost your ego or whatever it is.
Right.
Like, dig in.
Mhm.
One thing I like about these is that you might uncover, you'll uncover some opportunities, right? And that's the goal. Like, oh, I didn't realize, like, people are missing this. Okay, I'm going to work on that. That's great stuff. But also, like, for example, I discovered that my cleaning practices were really appreciated.
Yeah.
And my cleaning practices are a pain in the butt. Okay. And so that's one of those things I remember. After COVID, we like bumped up the cleaning stuff.
Yeah.
A lot.
To add a little insight, I've seen, so you've got the shakers, you've got the rhythm sticks, you've got all the little things that you use in class every day with babies and toddlers, and they stick them in their mouths, and then they pass them along to someone else.
They sneeze in the whole bucket. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I've seen your post cleaning process when I've walked by your studio and peeked in the window and just seen all of the percussion toys and instruments laid out on the floor. And there might be 100 of those.
Oh, yeah. I know. Because there's a separate box for each class. So we keep them separated. Yeah. And we just mist them, fog them all down. Yeah. It's, pardon me, it's not easy. It's kind of a pain. And you think, like, do we really need to be doing this? Is this really, really necessary? But then you get feedback that parents really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, we see a lot of people. I've got immunocompromised people in my classes. I have people battling cancer in my classes. I have grandparents in my classes.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say, like, I can't pinpoint any, like, illness breakouts. I haven't had, like, oh, geez, the Tuesday class all got hand, foot, and mouth, stuff like that. So that came through in the survey, and it just kind of affirmed what we're doing. And we're like, okay, they appreciate this, and this is a good thing. We're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'll find stuff like that too.
Yeah. That's great feedback, because as you said, for that thing in particular, you're like, oh, this is so much work. Do we really need to do that much? And your families are saying, like, yeah, thank you for doing that. And I think that helps a little bit when you do get to that point where you're just like, oh, this is a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do it. Knowing that that's something that your families appreciate, like that makes the work worthwhile.
Yeah, for sure. It crosses my mind as I'm doing this stuff, and I know. Yeah, it makes me happy.
Great.
Yeah.
I love it. So 3 types of surveys. I mean, I'm sure there's other surveys that you could do in your studio, but these are really great suggestions when you're developing a new program, evaluating instructors, and just general experience surveys. And again, those you talked about the frequency, and those three, like, you don't develop new programs that often.
No.
General experience, you're saying every couple of years. I could see someone maybe doing that annually.
Yeah.
And then instructor evaluations. Yeah, that one I would have to think about, like, in my studio, how frequently I would want to do that.
And
But this is great.
You could customize that too with the instructors. I always like to do it after a semester or two to get that feedback. You know, you can target these things. If you've got an instructor with 5 new students, after 2 months, just send it to those 5 students. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do we have time for a couple questions? Because I have a couple questions for you about this.
Oh, for me? Okay, yeah. Okay.
So I wondered, this is not something I've done, but would you ever incentivize completion of a survey? Like a general, this probably goes mostly for like a general satisfaction survey.
Good question. I honestly don't know. Side note, I'd worked earlier this year and kind of late last year, I worked on this project with a psychologist who was collecting data about practice habits for guitar players. And part of my job with this researcher was to sort of look at those survey questions and figure out, like, do they make sense? Should they be worded differently? What are the things that are important? And it was kind of an eye-opening experience because this is like serious research and like serious survey. And we're talking like 50-some questions and like real data collection. And the process that this researcher used to gather the info really just starts at kind of that basic, like, well, let's put this survey out to these forums and these groups and see what kind of info we get. But we definitely got to a point where she said, we're not getting enough data. And now we need to possibly look at other avenues and incentives. For me, I don't know. I don't need like that kind of sample size for the most part when it comes to this type of thing. So I don't know if I would necessarily incentivize, and I don't really know how effective that would be. I don't know. Have you used incentives?
I have not. I've only just kind of thought about it because it's been 2 years since we sent a general satisfaction survey. So we're thinking about doing that within the next few months. And it just kind of crossed my mind, like, well, what if we did incentivize it? Like, if you return the survey, we put your name in the bucket and we're going to give away like a kit of instruments, egg shakers and rhythm sticks, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So
the potential downside to that is, like, you're trying to get more replies. You might run the risk of that incentive providing less serious responses to the survey.
Sure.
Right? Like, I just want to get through this because I want to be in the drawing to win.
Get my name in the hat. Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. I haven't thought about it much. I just thought I'd throw it out there, see what you thought. This one, my next question is kind of rhetorical.
Okay.
Something to think about too. Most of my students can't speak in complete sentences.
Right.
But you have, your kids' elementary, middle, high school. I wonder about the value of surveying students.
This is okay. So this is another thing that I learned in that project that I worked on with this psychologist, which is, if you are, and this is the legal stuff that they have to deal with, right?
Okay.
Now, on the down low, in our small studios, I don't know if this would be important, but for research studies, if you are surveying minors, you have to get parental consent. So there's in addition to the struggle of getting people to fill out the survey, there's this other roadblock or this other hoop that you have to jump through even beforehand, which is getting parental consent and parental buy-in for then the minors to fill out these surveys.
Complete the survey. Okay. Yep. And I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But also, I don't know how accurate I would trust like 13-year-olds answers to surveys.
Yeah.
Because just knowing that, like, whatever mood they're in that day
Yes.
could change their answers. Who knows?
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
So I
not
don't
an
know if I would-
option
I don't know
in
if I
my
would survey
studio, but I wondered if that
Right.
ever comes up in other.
Yeah. So I don't know if I would
Studios with older
survey
kids.
the kids for any sort of reliable data.
Yes. Well, cool.
Yeah.
All right. That was a good convo.
This is cool. Thanks for putting this together, Mandy, because again, I don't do a lot of surveys, and it sounds like you do more than I do, and you've got a lot more experience with this. And it's really, I mean, this is great info to get because we are asking our target audience, our clients, hey, what do you think? And this is valuable info that we can then use to improve and tweak things. I love it.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, John.
All right. So we'll wrap this episode of Rock School Proprietor Podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds great. Take care.
If you have topic suggestions or questions, please contact us at info@rockschoolproprietor.com. We'd love to hear from you and hear suggestions for future shows. We've put together some free resources for teachers and studio owners over at rockschoolproprietor.com and a private Facebook group called The Modern Music School. Please join us over there. On social, I'm at rock.school.proprietor on Instagram and John Kazicki on both LinkedIn and Blue Sky. Your ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify are always appreciated. And if you enjoyed the show and gain insight from our conversation, then we count that as a win. All we ask in return is that you pay it forward, and please share the show with someone you think needs to hear it.